When I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a professional tennis player. I had this plan developed to a T on how my sister Alicia and I were going to be the next Venus and Serena. It was going to be my junior year of high school, and I would dramatically leave school to play Wimbledon and qualify for the 2020 Olympics with Alicia, where we would play for the Nigerian team and match up in doubles against the Williams sisters on the American team and win. We'd make the news, do interviews together, we'd live in big houses right next to each other, and Alicia would force me to cook her a meal every day because she can't cook. She makes a killer sweet potato pie, but I challenge you to ask her about the time she wanted to make me the infamous Miss Wallace brownies the first time she came home from her third form year at Groton. Spoiler alert, they tasted like straight up vegetable oil. In my plan, we both eventually settle down and have kids, Alicia 5 and me 3, and they would be best friends, and the rest would be history. As you can see, absolutely none of that happened. The only thing that is remotely true about that story is that I play tennis, and that was my first life plan. Emphasis on first. I remember looking my mom in the eye and telling her I would never go to boarding school like my sister. I just couldn't live away from home, leave my tennis friends and my school friends behind. As you can see, that was also a lie. I very much blindsided my mom when I said I wanted to go to boarding school. I had a new life plan. I was going to go to Groton just like Alicia, except I was going to go as an 8th grader and be with her for 2 years until I finally graduate in 2021. I applied to Groton for the 2016-2017 school year and got absolutely rejected. But I did get into a little place called Fay School in some area named Southborough, Massachusetts. It was time for a new plan. I was going to go there for a year so I could transfer to Groton for my freshman year. In reality, I stayed at Fay for both my 8th and 9th grade year. It happened to be the best 2 years of my life to date. I went overseas for the first time to France with some of my closest friends. I'll never forget how we snuck out of the hotel and got McDonald's on that very last night of the trip, just to say we did. Or how in one of the many castles we visited, Michael Greystone was trying to flex to us how good his new iPhone X camera was, moments before dropping it off the highest point of the castle, where his fancy new iPhone X was demolished. And I can't forget about the time when we were supposed to be touring a castle, but we ditched the tour guide to play Infection in the maze that lied outside the castle. I enjoyed my 8th grade year so much that there was no way I could transfer out, and I'm glad I didn't. My 9th grade year was even better than my 8th grade year, even when I spent the first term working on secondary school applications and touring secondary schools. I did a bunch of research on boarding schools, so I made sure I chose the right one. I fell in love with a school called New Hampton. It had everything I wanted. I liked the community. I loved the fact that they would let me continue to play USDA tournaments on the weekends. It was perfect. It was where I wanted to be, New Hampton. My 9th grade year at Fay went on, and I made tons of memories. From the ultimate dodgeball tournament to being without phones in the Dominican Republic with my entire grade, where we taught elementary school kids English and winded up getting stuck in the DR because of the storm in Boston. It was a time, to say the least. But the stress of March 10th was slowly creeping up on me. I remember when the infamous date rolled around like it was yesterday. I was on a plane traveling back home for spring break, and my flight landed at midnight of March 10th. I got off the plane, anticipating to see my parents with open arms ready to pick me up. But when I got to the typical spot, no one was there. I thought, maybe they're just at baggage claim. I went to baggage claim and tumbleweeds, not a single parent in sight. They forgot about me, and it was probably the most humbling experience ever. 13-year-old me scaredly called my dad, and I was like, hello, are you guys gonna pick me up at the airport? And he raced down to the airport to pick me up, and I forgave him because he came with a surprise, after he apologized, of course. He handed me my New Hampton acceptance letter. I was excited, over the moon. I was going to New Hampton. Everything in my plan was falling into place. As the day went on, I was opening more and more letters from secondary schools. Accepted, waitlisted, rejected. I was unfazed because I had gotten into my number one choice. I knew where I was going. The time had come where I heard back from Groton. After my first rejection in 2016, I wasn't expecting to get in. Besides, it wasn't where I wanted to go. To my surprise, I opened the email to see a big yes across my screen, and my family went crazy. My sister posted it on her Snapchat story, my mom was on the verge of tears, but that's nothing new, and my dad is keeping it chill, as always, but you can tell he was excited. I was, on the other hand, disappointed. I fell in love with the new school, and now that I got into Groton, I felt like I had to leave that school behind. The excitement of my parents, Alicia's friends saying they're going to be like older brothers to me, my relationship with the Macabellas, I had to go or I'd let everyone down. My time at Faye was coming to an end, and I needed to fix myself on someplace new. It was revisit season. I got to go to Groton and New Hampton. Like a dream, I remember what it felt like to be at New Hampton. My revisit guide was an old Faye friend, Sam Ribbit, and she was great. As a group, we did some bonding on the ice hockey rink and had a good time. As we walked around campus, I could picture myself in each building, walking from place to place, laughing with friends. Being at New Hampton felt like a warm hug. It felt like home. Groton's revisit day was a little different. My revis guides, Edwina Polynice and Grace O, took me under their wing to show me the ropes of the circle. Our first stop was roll call, where my sister, senior prefect at the time, embarrassed me in front of the whole school by making everyone aware that I was visiting, and I responded to her shout out with a face palm so loud that it literally echoed in the schoolroom. I went to various classes like Mr. Kofi's French class, where I met a prospective student named Logan Taylor. I visited Mrs. Baird's Latin 1 class, Mr. Wade's English class, and at the end of the day, Ms. Wallace's Sacred Text class, where I started to nod off a little, and all the third formers currently in the class ran to my sister to tell her that I was falling asleep. I remember parlor night. That's where I met the one and only boy I've ever been nervous around at Groton, the love of my life, who would later be my formal date and grab me from a group of people by saying, I'm here to get my formal date. And that line itself would have me physically weak in the knees. Walker smoke. And one of my other favorite people ever, Robbie Stanger. I hung out with him for a while, so I didn't have to introduce myself to people and have them be like, yo, are you Alicia's sister? Groton didn't feel the way New Hampton did because I wanted something completely new. Something like Faye, where there would be no traces of my sister, no comments about how I'm quieter or more introverted. But later that night, when the Macabellas wished all the families farewell, I met a young black girl in a red coat. I can't remember the conversation we had, but we laughed and joked that we'd known each other for years. She changed my mind. That conversation alone changed my mind about Groton. Though I can't piece together what was said, she liked me for me and cared about me for the jokes I was making and not my relationship with my sister. She liked Sobenna. She made me recognize that I was going to find a family here, regardless of who my sister was. It's now about who I am. The girl I met was named Naomi Arabnatin, and she will become my best friend. My most recent life plan was for my senior year. I would come back from the summer and go to volleyball preseason, co-captain with Naomi and Amelia, and form an amazing team bond while struggling to walk in between practices. The seniors would do form activities, and me, Yevsira, Red, Alex, Theo, and Maya would decorate a beautiful Disney-themed dorm. Don't worry guys, it's coming. Maya and I would have the iconic room 227 that Nikki Paulus and Carla Sanford once owned in 2018, where Maya and I spent most of our time. We would do senior sunrise and watch the first high school musical movie the night before the first day of school, the second one mid-year, and the last one the night before we graduate. I'd make the most out of our senior year because this was the last time, and these were our last Groton memories. In reality, I didn't go to preseason. In fact, I didn't even show up to campus until October. I was on medical leave and in and out of therapy, but I did make a best friend. A 99-year-old woman who gets excited about anything, from squirrels that run past the glass door, or the raisin to grits ratio in her breakfast. My great-grandmother quickly became my best friend. She loved The Price is Right, her cat Lucky, and telling stories even when she already told you the story like 20 minutes ago, but you have to sit there and listen to it like you hadn't heard it before, because she's 100 years old and she's just so precious. Though of course I wanted to be at school, and I was angry that I was missing the fall of my senior year. I got copious amounts of time and energy with a woman that I would later lose on January 25th, 2022. I didn't plan to sing for Elation while I was in the shower because our mom had taken our phones and Elation had no way of playing music. I didn't plan on rooming with Maya Markey in third form and her immediately introducing me to Jedediah, the stuffed Sven from Frozen that sat on her desk. I didn't plan for her to throw the best birthday parties, bathroom parties for those who are uncultured, or the fact that she made baby noises in the middle of study hall. I didn't plan for Maya Gite and I to break down sob for absolutely no reason every night at 2:30, for her to be my roommate, or for the spontaneous decisions that she just makes, then panics about, and then loves. I didn't plan for the Friday lunch tea sessions with Corinna, Naomi, Bennett, Britt, Hollis, and Jane, or to one day lose Jane. I didn't plan for Grace to be my most fun grind experience, or for my first ever boyfriend to be the one and only Kevin O'Donnell. I didn't plan for COVID to ruin my sophomore year, but make my fifth form year with the dance parties and Alex Kirshner story times. I didn't plan for Julia McAnoff to just come up to me and whisper the craziest things and then act like nothing happened, or for her to give the best hugs. Nor did I plan for the girls in my dorm to never go to sleep. I didn't plan for any of these memories. I didn't even plan for Groton. But I've learned that the best parts of life are unplanned. Though that was the end of my talk, there's one last thing I'd ask of you now before I get off the podium. I need everyone to stand up and follow me.